Thanks so much for joining us here on Atlanta News First Plus. I'm Joy Lim-Nakrin. I just wanted to share with you some of the top stories that we are following right now, starting with this new development overnight. So a person is hurt, and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is now looking into this after a police-involved shooting in Cobb County. Cobb County police tell us an officer pulled over a suspect last night close to around 10:30 and noticed they had a gun. Police say that suspect then made a move towards the gun, so officers told him to stop, but the suspect did not, and so an officer fired. Responding police performed some first aid, and an ambulance then transported that suspect to a Wellstar hospital, Wellstar Houston. Police say they didn't specify where exactly the suspect was hit, but the injuries are not thought to be life-threatening. We're still working to find out what the suspect was actually pulled over for. And again, a lot of questions being raised about this, of course. That is why the Georgia Bureau of Investigations is now looking into this. We're going to keep following all the latest developments on that. Also, this story, we've been following the closure of Atlanta Medical Center and its sister hospital and several other Wellstar facilities. And it may be affecting you, certainly affecting many people in the community. And that's why state lawmakers are really taking this issue head on. In fact, several lawmakers, Fulton County Commission Chair Rob Pitts and other local leaders, announced that they're filing 2 federal complaints. They're calling on the IRS and the Department of Health and Human Services to investigate Wellstar's sudden departure from areas of Atlanta that are predominantly Black and brown communities. County officials say that they are now in the early stages of luring a new healthcare system to Atlanta, prioritizing South Fulton, but obviously still very, very concerned for the residents who were being served by Atlanta Medical Center and the other facilities.
We're gonna wait for Grady, the ambulance to come, or somebody to rush us somewhere way out of the way. We need our own hospital again. Open it back up.
Yeah, so Wellstar is responding to these allegations against them, saying in part the suggestion that Wellstar Health System in any way discriminated against patients and communities is outrageous and false. We have their full response on atlantanewsfirst.com right here on our website. And coming up at 11:30, I'm going to sit down with an attorney joining us live here in studio to kind of break down these federal filings, look at the legalities, look at some of these other legal issues surrounding the closure of Atlanta Medical Center and several other Wellstar facilities. Also, I want to tell you about a story that is actually making some Atlanta parents pretty angry. A big proposal that is headed to the school district. This is an option that Atlanta Public Schools is looking at to resolve overcrowding, but parents fear that it could give rise to a host of other issues. My colleague, Atlanta News First reporter Amanda Rose, has a closer look.
This proposal could change where your child goes to school. It's the reason parents here at Midtown High School and other schools in Atlanta are voicing their strong concerns. School district leaders discussed the rezoning plan at a meeting on Wednesday night. The current plan would rezone Jackson High School to Carver High School, King Middle School to Price Middle School, Benteen Elementary and Obama Elementary to Slater Elementary, and Parkside to Obama and Benteen. Parents who spoke out say they don't want their kids in a new environment, leaving their friends, and they're concerned about safety.
We're talking about 75 students who would be displaced from Jackson High School.
And we've worked over the past 10+ years to bring cohesion to our cluster.
And now they're worried that the school system basically wants to send their kids, ship them out to another school system.
The school officials say they are considering how parents feel and do want them to share their thoughts. It's the reason they're having a meeting here at 6 o'clock tonight at Midtown High School. In Atlanta, Amanda Rose, Atlanta News First.
Thanks to my colleague Atlanta Rose with that report. Also want to let you know that in just a few moments, it's 10:02 right now. We are expecting to hear from the family of Susanna Morales, and this is ahead of a forum that is happening tonight. I just want to show you the image of Susanna Morales. I'm sure you remember her. Very sad story. She went missing. Sorry, I'm just having a little bit of a technical glitch here, but this young lady went missing last July. and then more recently, unfortunately, her remains were found, and her suspected killer has now been arrested. He's a former Doraville police officer. You're seeing that man, Miles Bryant, and really it's a very, very, very sad case. He's actually, the latest with him is he's now facing even more charges unrelated to her death, and that's something that we reported to you, kind of breaking into a Snellville home is what he's accused of doing. But there's a community forum that is being held tonight because, the disappearance of Susanna Morales, unfortunately, not the only Hispanic teenager that has gone missing in Gwinnett County recently. I'll just show you these images of these 3 teenagers. So you were looking at not just 16-year-old Susanna Morales, but also 16-year-old Jose Martinez and 17-year-old Rodrigo Floriano. All 3 disappeared and have been found dead in recent months. So it's something that's certainly raising a lot of concerns, and that's why Gwinnett County Police are holding this community forum tonight, trying to hear the concerns of the community, trying to figure out how they can better protect the community. And police say they're inviting the public to just ask questions and have a dialogue. And there are going to be many Spanish-speaking officers present and interpreters on hand to assist. That meeting is happening at 6:30 tonight at the Universal Church on Singleton Road if you are interested in attending that. But regarding Susanna Morales, her family is speaking out and holding a press conference at any moment now. We're expecting that to begin. We actually have a crew that will be on the ground there to bring that to you. They're going to be at Crown Plaza, Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. If you're interested in attending that, there may still be time for you to get over there. But in the meantime, as we kind of watch what's happening there, we are also keeping an eye to the sky. Want to bring in my colleague, meteorologist Ella Dorsey, with a look at the forecast.
Good morning to you guys. How do I get the thing on me? How do I get?
Just press this one. Oh, sorry.
See, look, I've been doing this for 4 months. I'm telling you guys, it's still a learning curve. Good morning to you. It's Friday Eve. Yesterday was a transition day, so we started the week. It was freaking gorgeous, right? We almost hit 80 degrees Monday, Tuesday. Yesterday, still beautiful, but about 10 degrees cooler, probably noticeably cooler. That was the transition day to a much wetter, much cooler forecast that we are in for as we head into the weekend, and we're gonna see a lot of rain. But I want to note that that's actually really good news for you allergy sufferers, okay? So here's the rainfall potential through the end of the weekend. We are looking at anywhere between, let's see, about 1.5 inches and 2 inches of rain. That is really, really, really gonna help with your allergies. Let me see if I can get my graphics to go. There we go. Okay, so through Sunday, 1.5 inches, 2.5 inches of rain. That yellow pollen is on everything right now. It is disgusting outside. You're gonna get Mother Nature's gonna give your car, okay, a car wash. And so the pollen count came out for today. It's at 1214, which is still considered high, but it's about 1/3 of the level it was a couple days ago. So we're already starting to see those lower levels. And with the rain that we're in for by tomorrow morning, I think that the pollen levels will be much lower. So all of you allergy sufferers are gonna really start to feel some relief by tomorrow. That's the good news. Here's our look at our radar. You can see just some light showers out there right now, but the heavier rain is on the way. It's working its way through Alabama as we speak. So if you've got any chores to do, you wanna get outside, you wanna walk the dog, do it in the next couple of hours, because that rain, that heavier rain, will arrive by around 3 or 4 p.m. today, and it will be very widespread through the evening hours. Temperatures today going to hover in the 50s and low 60s, seasonable for this time of year. Certainly not nearly as warm as we started the week. So here's your hour-by-hour forecast. 6 p.m. you can see that rain, messy evening commute. And we also are looking at heavy rain, perhaps the heaviest rain for the morning commute tomorrow. This is our new high-res model, just updated about an hour or two ago, so this is fresh new information. Now bringing that heavy rain through a little bit later in the day tomorrow. So if you get on the roadways between about 6 to 8 a.m., it could be a washout, especially from Atlanta down to the south. You can see those pockets of heavier rain. So really messy tomorrow morning, but I got some good news for you. By tomorrow afternoon, that rain moves out. The skies will clear. We will even see some sunshine in the last few hours of the day tomorrow. So we have a first alert for tomorrow, but that is only only for the first couple hours of the day. That's only for that very wet morning commute. By 11 a.m. it is dry. It stays cloudy through the early afternoon, but by the time you're getting off work tomorrow, by the time you're thinking about what am I going to have for dinner, what am I going to do this weekend, you're going to start to see some sunshine, and that sunshine will continue on Saturday. We're looking at partly cloudy skies. Saturday is going to be the day that you want to get outside, friends, because by Sunday, rain moves back in, and you can see the thunderstorm icons. We'll even see some rumbles of thunder on Sunday as well. I also want to note, if you live in northwest Georgia from Lake Lanier, Gainesville up into the mountains, we're going to see a little bit of a wedge situation going on, and that's that cool air that rides down from the northeast, presses up against the Appalachian Mountains and surges into Georgia. So those higher elevations may not make it out of the 40s on Sunday. So a very chilly day for the mountains. Meanwhile, down towards LaGrange, noon, you can see 68 degrees. So quite a bit warmer down to the south. That's the area that could see some thunder. I am not expecting severe weather this weekend whatsoever, but it does look like pretty much as soon as the sun rises, we could be seeing that rain move in. If it's not raining when the sun rises on Sunday, it will be raining by the middle of the day, and we're looking at on and off showers pretty much lasting through Sunday evening and even into Monday morning. Now, Monday we dry out. Next week is looking pretty dry, but also cold. That cold air is going to arrive on Monday, and it's really going to take over for the middle of the week. Tuesday and Wednesday mornings, I'm expecting freezing temperatures, even the potential for a hard freeze, with morning lows in the 20s on Tuesday morning for parts of metro Atlanta. So I know we've gotten a really early start to spring. A lot of the plants are budding. You may be thinking about your garden. You may have already planted some plants because it's so warm. You're gonna have to cover them Monday night and Tuesday night of next week with those freezing temperatures. The good news is that won't be a widespread freeze. I think we'll start to warm up by the middle of next week. You can see we're back up into the upper 50s, but that's quite a bit cooler than we have been. So you'll need the winter coat through the week next week. And looking ahead to the weekend after this upcoming weekend, I'm seeing another potential for a cold blast. So it's certainly going to be quite a bit colder as we head into mid-March and quite a bit wetter. That is the main headlines that you need to know. I hope that you stay dry and hope that your allergies aren't killing you. Okay, give it a few days. If they are, it should be better. I'm going to give it back to Joyce now, who has an update on something she's going to tell you about.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so, you know, as I mentioned to you, we are expecting to hear from the family of Susanna Morales. I want to show you a live look here. You can see that they are seated. Let's go ahead and listen. Let's go ahead and listen in.
I am Shadi. I don't think I met you, but I read your stuff. Good to meet you. Shadi. Yeah, I'm going to go tonight. Just going to hang out here today, I think. Awesome. Wondering whether I should ask the family. Yeah. Could have been undetermined. Got it. Can you get the autopsy report in his office? They won't give it to us.
Probably,
Yeah, it has to be. Is that okay. Like instead of asking for the report, just ask for that specific question. Yeah. Maybe that's not good.
cases or this is one of the things that we don't.
They're exempting everything under open records because of the age.
Are we good? Well, there's we keep that. So that's what I'm saying. We have a level there. And then we're going to make all the time out here, which is like, it is the forwarding.
I'll try to reach out to them. See if they.
Yeah.
You take Carol Chicken.
Yeah, Carol Perry.
Okay, so if you're watching this right now, I just kind of wanted to explain to you what's happening. So we're just showing you a live look at Crown Plaza Peachtree Industrial Boulevard, where the family of Susanna Morales is gathered to deliver a press conference. Remember, Susanna Morales is the beautiful 16-year-old girl who went missing last July, and she was later discovered dead, unfortunately. The man charged in killing her is a former Doraville police officer. So we're waiting for some remarks from her family, and this comes ahead of a forum that's expected tonight where not just her death is going to be addressed, but also the deaths of 16-year-old Jose Martinez and 17-year-old Rodrigo Floriano, who also went missing. Gwinnett County Police are looking to hear from members of the community. They're going to be bringing Spanish-speaking officers and interpreters, and having this event, this outreach event at 6:30 at the Universal Church on Singleton Road tonight. But looking back live at what we are watching, this is the family of Susanna Morales. Intending to speak out. That's why they're holding this press conference here today. So we're just kind of watching and listening. Let's listen in.
Una vez más, señora, última vez.
Let her know to get started.
Ok, señora, vamos a empezar. Vamos a ir por turno y cuando le toca a usted, le van a avisar, ¿ok?
Ok, gracias.
Necesitamos que mantengan silencio en el tanto para que el público vive. Gracias, señora.
All right. Before we begin, we would just kind of like to ask everyone to ensure that their phones are on vibrate. We'll just take a moment. Good morning, everyone. My name is Dora Whitley, and on behalf of the Susanna Morales family, we want to thank you for being here with us today for the Justice for Susanna Morales press conference. Our purpose today is to open a platform for Susanna's family and the media to connect. We appreciate your time. Before we begin with introductions this morning, I would like to ask for a moment of silence for Susanna. Thank you. So we'll begin with introductions. To my left.
My name is Julissa Renteria, and I'm Susanna Morales' older sister.
My name is Brian Perez, and I'm Susana's brother.
My name is Jasmine Morales, and I'm Susanna's middle sister. My name is Chloe Cheyenne, and I'm the CEO of Community Acts.
My name is Lennox Mercedes, and I'll be serving as the translator for Maria Morales.
Maria?
Hi.
Mi name is Maria. This is Mom de Susanna Morales.
Thank you. Chloe, I'll have you take the lead now to
As a parent, there's nothing more terrifying than having your child go missing. But as a mother, a woman who has carried and birthed that child into this world, that is a pain beyond expression. And the devastation that follows the discovery that your missing child was murdered is unspeakable. For all the parents in this audience, pause right now and imagine the worst. Your baby goes missing for a day, 7 days, 14 days, a month, 2 months, 7 months, and then one day, police contact you asking for a DNA sample, and your child turns up in literal pieces. That's what this mother and sister went through. The family of Susanna Morales. We're here today because there has never been a just America. There has never been equality and justice for all. And there has been no life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness for this family. And it's not just Gwinnett County. In Washington, D.C., there are still dozens of unsolved missing cases related to Black and brown girls under the age of 21. Families like Susanna's come to America for the very thing that we just can't seem to offer them: peace and safety. There is nothing natural about a parent losing a child, but for a parent to have to bypass that grief in order to have the stamina to fight for justice for that child, that is an unconscionable ask. And yet, that's exactly the new reality for Maria Brand and Jasmine Morales. We are here to demand justice. In this case, the arrest of Miles Bryant is not enough. He should have been detained after the first harassment and battery offenses he committed against previous underage girls. The law should have done its job and protected Susanna from him long before he saw her walking down that street. But we believe that Miles wasn't alone in this act. Today we are demanding that every single person involved in Susanna's kidnapping and murder is held accountable. And we will not stop until we bring everyone accountable under the full extent of the law. In closing, Black and brown children who go missing in this country receive little to no media coverage as compared to their white counterparts. So thank you to each and every one of you from the media who came out to support the family of Susanna Morales. And thank you to the organizations that have supported this fight for justice for Susanna. Please look for me, Carmen Perez and the Gathering for Justice, Black Alliance for Peace, and Priscilla Luna and Alchemia Global. Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. I will now read a statement from Mr. Brandon Smith with Brandon Smith Law. We represent the family of Susanna Morales, arising out of this horrible, unimaginable tragedy. My firm has been retained to investigate every aspect of this case, to explore every legal option available to this family. We plan to honor Susanna's life throughout this process, to honor this very special family, and to seek justice, to do the right thing, to make Georgia a better and safer place to live. And I thank you for your common interest in joining us in that pursuit. Thank you, Brandon Smith with Brandon Smith Law. I will now pass the voice to Ms. Jasmine Morales.
I'm Susana, my little sister, and we're here today to demand justice for her. When we talk about Susana, she's the baby of the family. She's my little sister. She's the youngest of us three. You were to ask me how she was. She's the life of the family. Just from the beginning, we just knew she didn't run away in the beginning. When she didn't come home that night, I wanted to believe that everything was okay. I told myself, yeah, maybe her phone died. She maybe fell asleep at her friend's house. But deep down, my mom knew that something wasn't right that night. And that's when the next morning, that's when we reported her missing. And we just didn't know the months that were to follow. It was 7 long months of looking, doing what we could, what we had in our power to see what would come of Susana. So I remember 2 days after her being missing, we were able to get that first video clip of her going home. And that day was just a relief for me. I was just, look, we have proof that she was on her way home. I was just like, then why did she make it home all those months of not knowing what happened to her? Is she okay? Is she eating? It's something that no one should have to go through, and that's why we're here today, to make sure that this doesn't happen to another girl or boy, another young teen. Sorry. Just being here today, now, what my family's going through is we just have to fight that we're not going to see her again. Before it was okay because we were just holding on to the fact that we were going to see her again one day, and that any day she would walk through those doors. And then we'll see her again. So on the day that we found out that her remains were found, I didn't believe it. I went like a week believing that it wasn't her, that it had to be a mistake. That day I remember my mom was telling me that she wanted to bring her phone. She wanted to bring her phone to us because she's been alone for so long. And she wanted her to be back at home with us. And now we rest on the fact that she's back with us, and we were able to lay her to rest, and we have a place where we were able to visit her. No matter what we do, nothing's ever going to be able to bring her back to us. No amount of justice will ever bring her back to us. What we can do is try to make sure this doesn't happen to anybody else again. And that's why we're here today. Just a memory that I want everyone to know about Susana is she was 16. She was barely starting out in high school. She had her whole life to live. I remember when we were little, she was talented one, so she played the piano. So I would just help her sing, but she has a beautiful voice, And it's something that all of people look back to is we have what we did of her singing. And all I have left with her is not memories. And within about next to it. I think about all the stuff that I have to go through now without her. She was never able to graduate high school. She was never able to start her own family. She didn't get to live her life. She didn't even get to start it. She was only 16. It just hurts. There's no way to describe how we feel. So now we're just here to make sure that everyone that was involved is held accountable and that she gets the justice that she deserves. And that her name doesn't go down in vain and that her dad was for nothing. We want to make sure that her dad means something and it changes something in this world. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you're Richard, that in his life.
Everything.
In his life, yeah.
Mi mamá habla en español también.
Yes.
Está bien contigo.
Yeah, that's for, it's more important that she begins
In Spanish, okay. Lennox, do you want to translate on this piece or have her?
I can translate or you want to speak in your own words? They want to hear from you in their own words. In Spanish.
Okay.
Take your time.
Mi nombre es Susana Morales. Estoy aquí para demandar justicia para mi hermanita Susana Morales. Ella era la bebé de la familia, la menor de las 3 hermanas. No hablamos de ella, ella era la bebé de la familia. En el 25 cuando regresó a la casa, todos sabíamos que algo había pasado. Yo quería pensar mejor, pensando que quizás su teléfono se le murió, se quedó dormida en la casa de su amiga. Pero esa noche mi mamá sabía en su corazón que algo mal había pasado. Entonces, fueron 7 largos meses buscándola, pidiendo ayuda. Con el apoyo de la comunidad tratamos de hacer lo posible para encontrarla y pensando que entre todos esos meses ella nunca estuvo con nosotros. Solo ese día que nos avisaron que había encontrado su cuerpo, Juan y su cuerpo, sus huesos, fue un día que nunca nos esperábamos porque estábamos esperando ese día que nos iban a avisar que ya lo encontraron, que le íbamos a ver entrar por la puerta de la casa. Y ahora saben que nunca lo vamos a volver a ver. Pero ahora tenemos más ese paso de nuestro corazón que sabemos dónde está y que ya no está sola. Y ahora tenemos un lugar donde podemos visitarla. Entonces, ahora lo que nos queda es que nos aseguramos que su muerte no fue en vano y que eso con su hermano podemos hacer algo para cambiar y que esto no le vuelva a pasar a nadie más. Y asegurarnos que todos los que estuvieron involucrados, que la justicia, que todos se cobre justicia.
We will now have the mother of Susanna Morales to address all of you. Please bear with us. We do have a translator present. Maria, take your time. Take your time. Take your time.
Doña María, coja su tiempo y hable cuando esté lista.
Hola, la razón por la cual estamos aquí, que para nosotros no es muy agradable estar hablando porque es doloroso para nosotros. Pero estamos aquí porque queremos justicia por la muerte de mi hija, por tanta búsqueda, por tantas noches de desesperación, por todo lo que yo desde el día 26 que ella salió de ver a su amiga y nunca más regresó a la casa.
We are here today demanding justice, even though this is a very hurtful time for our family. It's been a long, hurtful process since July 26th, the night she went missing.
and we were looking for her ever since. And we're here today demanding justice for Susana. Adelante, doña María.
Y como le digo, ella ya nunca más regresó a la casa desde el día 26. Pasamos 6 meses y 3 semanas buscándola día y noche, preguntando a ver si alguien sabía de ella.
She never
Y
returned
nadie
home
nos
for
sabe
the
ayudar,
26.
nadie nos dio razón.
And we looked for her for 6 months and 3 weeks. And no one could give us any answers.
Y si la vieran, estamos aquí porque nosotros queremos justicia para Susana, mi hija.
We are
Queremos
here.
que esa persona que esté ahí encerrada, que no tenga derecho de salir, que no tenga derecho de fianza. Y para que otras niñas, otras jovencitas no pasen por lo mismo que pasó mi hija.
We're here demanding justice for Susana. We do not want the person responsible for this to be free. We want them to receive justice. We do not want them to receive bail. We do not want other children to go through this again.
Ay, discúlpenme que no estoy muy bien.
¿Cuál es su
Como
tiempo,
estaba
señora?
ahorita, tengo mucha fiebre, estoy sudando, pero
Excuse me,
yo voy a
I'm
tratar de
not
recuperar
here.
porque me hubiera gustado estar ahí con ustedes, pero
I would have loved to have been here with you all, but I'm not really well.
yo pido justicia para mi hija porque no es justo que hayan quitado la vida a ella así, siendo una niña tan joven.
It's not just that
Ella no le hacía daño a nadie.
she's never done anything to anyone. She doesn't deserve that. And we're here demanding justice for her.
Pues no tengo muchas palabras, pero lo que les digo es que hagamos esto, que nos haya en vano la muerte y la desaparición de mi hija, porque hay muchas jovencitas que desaparecen como la mía y no nos ponen atención, tal vez porque somos hispanos, pero si la hubiéramos buscado a través de la señal de su teléfono, por esa señal donde se encuentra, la hubiéramos buscado ese mismo día, tal vez la hubiéramos encontrado con vida, tal vez hubiéramos encontrado su cuerpito completo.
Have we looked
Pero
for
no
her
se
immediately
nada hasta después como de 3 meses.
via her cell phone? Maybe we would have found her little body together in one piece and not the way it was found.
Y la razón por la cual estamos aquí por la vida para ver si todo esto mejore también, porque hay muchas jovencitas desaparecidas, así como la mía, y lo que queremos es ayudar a otras familias, ayudar a otras jovencitas que no pasen por lo mismo y que se le haga justicia a la mía,
We are
porque no
here
es justo lo que está pasando con nuestra comunidad.
trying to help others in our community and other communities who are missing children and young girls. We do not want this to happen to any other families. We do not want any other families to go through what we are going through in this situation.
Yo sé que nada de esto me va a traer a mi hija de regreso,
I know that
ni
none
nada de
of
esto
this
me va a quitar el dolor que llevo.
and the pain that I carry.
Pero como le digo, queremos justicia porque parece a esa persona quiere fianza para poder salir.
Like I
Y lo que
said,
queremos es que no salga.
because they're looking for bail to get this person out, and we do not want this person to come out.
No sé si tenga que decir algo más.
No, señora, está bien. She said she had a lot of words to say, but she doesn't know if she needs to say anything else. But I think we got the point of what she's trying to express. Gracias, doña María. Gracias.
Thank you.
Gracias a ustedes y disculpen.
Thank you, and excuse me. De nada, señora. No se preocupe.
¿Puedo salir?
Sí, sí, she said, can I leave? Can I be done with it?
Gracias.
Sí.
Feliz día.
Gracias, señora. Have a good day.
Hold on, have her stay on.
Un segundo, doña María. Por favor.
Have her stay on.
Aguanta un segundo.
Q&A. All right, so Chloe, if you can go ahead and give us our CTA for today, and then we'll open up the floor for Q&A.
Thank you, Jasmine, and thank you, Maria, for sharing with everyone the memory of Susana and our call for justice for her. I think the question for everyone watching this Justice for Susana press conference today is, are we all going to continue to accept the fact that we live in a country where the very people who we pay to serve and protect us are able, under the protection of the law, to kill us in broad daylight, while we're driving, while we're jogging, while we're sleeping in our bed at home, while we're walking home just a few blocks from our friend's house? Are we going to continue to accept that this reality that we're all currently living in is okay? Or are we going to stand up and do something about it? And that's why we're here today, sitting beside Jasmine and Maria and the family of Susanna Morales. We're asking everybody who's watching, please take action for this family. Go to www.justiceforsusanna.com to sign her official petition. We're demanding that a fair and transparent investigation into everyone who is involved in this kidnapping and murder of Susanna Morales is held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. And please, for everyone who's watching, consider donating to the official fundraiser for the Morales family, which will go to ensuring the continued safety of Jasmine and Maria and the family during this extremely sensitive time, as well as to the memorial fund that will be made in Susanna's honor and will be purposed to continue to protect other Black and brown young girls around this country. Thank you.
Lennox, if you can summarize for us.
In Spanish.
Yes, please.
Queremos dar un llamado a la comunidad que es un punto final. Tenemos que tomar acción para proteger nuestros niños en todas las comunidades de color. Es tiempo de parar el daño que está pasando en la comunidad en las manos de la policía. Con el dinero de la comunidad están haciendo estos crímenes. Y tenemos que unirnos y alzar la voz para parar estos tipos de crímenes. Gracias.
Thank you. We will now open up the floor for questions and answers.
So, for Susanna's family,
Please announce which outlet you give to.
for WSBTV,
Thank you.
are there still questions about how this case was handled? The police department said that they investigated from the beginning. They were knocking on doors the same day that she was reported missing. Now that the time has passed, arrest has been made. Is there still concern about how the police handled the investigation?
I don't know if anyone will answer that question, but thank you.
For the Morales family, Tyler for Fox 5. I understand you guys were invited to the Gwinnett County Police meeting that they're expecting to have tonight here in the Norcross community. Are you guys going to be there, and what are your hopes or expectations of this meeting with
We just found out about it from a website, but we are planning to attend it. We're just hoping that, like again, said, that maybe there's a different procedure for missing persons, for missing teens specifically, and hoping that something more is going to be done so this doesn't happen again.
Dennis Parr, can you tell everyone what the suspect was charged with? And you said something, you mentioned something about possible, she mentioned something about possible bail. Is he held without bail?
At the moment, yes, he is being held without bail. Can you repeat the first part they said, sorry?
Well, the first question was, can you talk about what is his status right now as he's being held in Gwinnett County? And also, was there a bail order or not? Because she mentioned something about bail just a few minutes ago.
They're trying to get bail for him, and
So there's a
we
motion
want to
about
continue to prevent that bail.
The charges that we know is the same as the ones they released, false report of a crime, kidnapping, murder, and the other one was talking about
So there
a
are
body.
middle two of the 7 deadly sins, kidnapping and murder in Georgia. Those are two of the they help for right now.
Yeah,
So,
and it's public too, yeah.
Shadi Abu Saeed with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I can't imagine what y'all are going through, and I don't mean to sound insensitive, but have you heard from the police or the medical examiner about what caused her death, what the official cause of death was? You haven't heard anything?
It's a summarization.
Yeah. And Chloe said earlier that you alluded to there being other people involved. Where did you get that from? That's something we've heard from the police.
I just think given the circumstances of Susanna's kidnapping and murder and the amount of time that went by before her body was actually found, that we just want to make sure that if Miles Bryant was not alone in this act, that everyone else who was involved is held accountable.
Don Shipman from Atlanta News First. You mentioned transparency with law enforcement. Do you feel that there hasn't been enough transparency with law enforcement as respect to the family?
Do we feel that there's been enough transparency? I think across the board, there need to be better processes in place for when not only young Black and brown girls, but all girls go missing, as well as better processes in place for police-involved murders. And so broadly, we're demanding that better processes are put in place that allow for transparency during sensitive times like this for families.
Kurt Young, with that post. What is it that you are hoping to see Gwinnett County Police change in how they deal with crime against the Hispanic community, where someone like Susanna goes and disappears in the future?
Probably not just Hispanic in general, but all young teens. The 48-hour rule, for example, was way too long. Like you already know, we believe Susana died that same night, so the 48-hour rule is just too long.
Justin, how old are you?
19.
19. And what is it that you miss most about your younger sister?
Probably her laugh, or her voice, like I mentioned, she loves singing, so we love to hear her singing.
From Telemundo, I will do this question in English and Spanish both. ¿Ustedes piensan que realmente Miles actuó solo? Toda la información está evolucionando. ¿Piensan que hubo otro cómplice o se han quedado con lo que la policía dice? Do you think that Miles was acting by himself or there is another accomplice?
Like Chloe mentioned, in the case that he wasn't acting alone, we just wanted to make sure that everybody gets justice. Spanish, right? ¿No contestó en español?
Sí, por favor.
Sí, no sabemos, pero en el caso que él no actuó solo que todos estén involucrados, que vayan a justicia.
También en inglés, en español, English and Spanish.
El condado dice que en los últimos 14 meses hay más de 970 casos de personas desaparecidas y que todos los tratan igual. ¿Qué se debe hacer para que la policía y la comunidad se sientan que están en la misma página, para que la comunidad hispana que está creciendo en Gwinnett y que ahora está viendo los mismos problemas que el resto de la población también sean parte de esta conversación? Gwinnett County says police they've had over 970 missing person cases in the last 14 months. Not all of them active, but now the Hispanic community fits into the same issues as the rest of the county that has been changing in the past 14 years. What does the community in general need to do to be on the same page as the police officers and make sure that it's a both-way street where the police responds, but the community is also involved?
Creo que sería lo principal sería cambiar la regla de las 48 horas desde que un hijo o una hija no regresa a casa ese mismo día. Si los padres llaman y piden ayuda, que se ayude en esa hora, en esa misma hora. Just recounting, I feel like it would be the first step would be just changing the 48-hour. As soon as the parent calls the police and asks for help to find their child, help should be sent out immediately.
Se tiene que cambiar también la actitud de la comunidad hispana. Do we need to change the Hispanic community attitudes to be more, open to go and talk and be participant? Not necessarily of talking about your case, obviously, but since this has become a larger issue with the Hispanic community in the county.
I think that we all need to remember what it means to be a good community member, to be a good neighbor, to care about the families that exist within our communities, and stand up when we see something that isn't right, or when we know something is happening that is wrong, to stand up and to use that love and care that we have for community to potentially prevent things like this from happening to the people that we live amongst.
Since the arrest of Miles Bryant, there's been a pattern that we've learned about stalking behavior dating back to high school. Just wanted to know the family's thoughts about that.
You just do feel like maybe all of this had been consequences from the beginning, maybe this wouldn't have happened.
There are well-documented instances of Miles Bryant harassing and stalking other underage girls, and so as I mentioned earlier, we believe that if police officers and investigators did their job in those earlier instances, that Susanna Morales could potentially still be with us here today. So we really have to step back and question the priority of police officers and police departments and mayors across this country. What are they really here to do? We're seeing police murders happen at a rate of at least one person per day in this country, and there are 900 missing girls cases in this county alone. We need to reprioritize, and we need to understand what departments are going to do to change systemically in order to better protect the people in our communities.
My question is for Ms. Maria, but I might need a little help translating.
Doña María, una pregunta para usted. Go ahead.
I know nothing can bring your daughter back, but do you and your family have a sense of closure now that her remains have been found and that someone has been arrested and charged?
Yo sé que nada puede devolver a su hija, pero usted siente un sentido que este caso, más o menos, se ha cerrado en su corazón, que por lo menos encontraron a su hija. ¿Cómo se siente usted por eso?
Pues es diferente porque pues ahora siquiera sé dónde llevarle una flor, porque antes, durante los 6 meses de semana, fue un momento de angustia bien feo, porque yo todas las noches, todos los días, a cada segundo, yo no sabía dónde ella estaba, yo no sabía si estaba bien, si estaba enferma, si ella comía, si ella tenía frío, y era angustia bien fea, y ahora es un dolor y coraje que yo siento porque todo lo que le pasó, lo que le hicieron antes de que falleciera, yo no sé, y sin coraje porque no puedo estar ahí para ayudarla.
It's different now because now at least I have somewhere to take a flower to. Now at least I know that I can mourn her. But after so many months of anguish, of not knowing where she is, and then discovering her and what was done to her, now I feel angry and am seeking justice.
Y porque lo que queremos es justicia para ella y gracias a todos ustedes por estarnos ayudando a hacer todo esto para que todos paguen, porque sabemos de que no solo es esa persona que está encerrada, ellos saben, la policía, porque yo siento y yo no sé, pero yo tengo muchos sueños. Yo sé que no está bien que les diga esto, pero yo sentí que yo era Susana cuando se subió en el carro y iba otra persona con ella. Y donde ella sintió la desesperación, yo no sé si es por tanto que yo pienso, pero yo sé que hay más de esas personas y pues nosotros queremos de que sigan investigando, que no vayan a parar aquí, que ya porque está esa persona encerrada ya vayan a cerrar el caso, porque sabemos que no, incluso sabemos que tal vez las amigas de ella saben también y queremos de que sigan investigando.
We feel that there are potentially more people involved as either accomplices or witnesses that may have seen her get in the car, or potentially another person in the vehicle. And we are seeking justice, and we do not want the investigation to stop. We need the investigation to continue to discover who else may have aided and abetted this crime.
I would like to give you an opportunity. She just made some comments that there are more feelings than facts. Would you like to clarify that, from your point of view, when you're asking for more investigative, what kind of evidence do you have versus what you think it might be the case?
We can't speak to the evidence around the case, but obviously the family has strong feelings, having gone and lived this for the past couple of months. We're just asking for full transparency from the police department to come forth, addressing the family, addressing the community, so that people can feel safe at home.
To follow to this question, how much of facts that can support what she is saying? Because that's important for the big community. So is there anything specific that you guys know about that hasn't been publicly made aware by law enforcement to help the community be on high alert?
Good question. I think through tonight's briefing that's been organized by the police department, we will be present. So our hope is that through this evening that they will speak on the very question that you're speaking about. When it comes to the legal side of it, we'll defer that to her attorney's office for those particular types of questions.
Jasmine, you said that you hope, you were talking about you wanted to change, you hope to see the 48-hour rule changed. Anything else you want to see different for the police department to be doing in these types of cases?
Maybe just like the process of hiring a police officer. We know that in this case, Miles, there was a lot of background to go with him, and I feel like that should have been looked at more carefully, and not just for him, but for every police officer.
When we got initial information from the police department, I think in August, end of August, about a month after she disappeared, and then again in January, they mentioned that her cell phone had been pinging, it sounded like in the area around Mr. Bryant's apartment complex, until it either was shut off or the battery died. Do you guys believe that that might have been a missed opportunity to find her remains sooner?
Possibly, but like I said, it all happened that same night, so I can't tell you for sure, but it is a possibility.
And the investigation is still ongoing, so yeah, more facts will come out. We'll take one or two more last questions before we wrap. This will bring the justice.
One last question.
Okay.
I guess access to the family. The mayor's probably, the county's going to see this. What do you want to say directly to the mayor and the police chief? It's a final word.
Again, just saying again that we want full transparency, we want to know everything that happened and make sure that everybody's held accountable. And if it was just him alone, to make sure that he's held accountable. So the police is going to help a lot.
Could you say it in Spanish, please?
How do you say mayor? Alcalde? Alcalde. Bueno, solo queremos asegurarnos que haya transparencia en la investigación, que se sepa todo lo que pasó, todo lo que le pasó a ella y que todos los que estén implicados que se le ponga la justicia que merece y si fue solo él, que esperamos que pues también que tenga justicia Susana.
This will bring the press conference to an end. We ask that everyone turns to www.justice4Susanna.com. Again, that's www.justice4Susanna.com. Thank you all for your time.
Ok, señora María, ya concluyó el evento y podemos colgar y alguien le va a llamar en un ratito. Gracias, doña. Gracias, doña.
All right, so you've just been listening live to this press conference from the family of Susanna Morales, a 16-year-old Gwinnett County teenager who went missing last July, was later discovered dead. Now, this man, Miles Bryant, is actually charged with murdering her, apart from some other charges. But this family of Susanna Morales, as you can hear today, they have retained an attorney as they're exploring all of their legal rights concerning this case. But it also comes ahead of a forum that is happening tonight following the deaths of not just Susanna Morales, but 16-year-old Jose Martinez and 17-year-old Rodrigo Floriano in Gwinnett County. So that's why officials there in Gwinnett County are kind of reaching out to the community. They're bringing Spanish-speaking officers and translators. They're trying to, improve engagement, have a dialogue, invite the community to ask questions so that they can prevent incidents like this from happening again in the future. So that's something that, of course, we are going to follow as we continue to also follow the fallout from the death of Susanna Morales and the case against the former Doraville police officer accused of killing her. I also want to show you this live look that we are watching right now. You can see this is I-20 West, just east of Wesley Chapel Road. There is a crash of some sort shutting down the highway. Right now, we're just working to get a little bit of information on this